Live from Los Angeles' greatest suburb, Burbank, California, this is Movie Talk. It's 2018, January 2nd, 2018. A new year has begun. I'm Ken Napzok. This is Collider's Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. We break down stuff about movies right here every Monday through Friday, live. All right, let's begin. I am joined by the wonderful Kristian Harloff. You've got a great hoodie.
Oh, you like this hoodie?
I like that hoodie.
I'm glad that you like this hoodie. I went to the mall. There's no one at the mall.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved going to the mall where there's no one there. It was a ghost town, and it made me realize that I don't like being around a lot of people.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
so
too.
welcome back. Happy New Year, everybody. One of my New Year resolutions is to be nicer to people, so I apologize for not wanting you at the mall. Everybody, it is exciting. It is a new time here at Collider, and we are ready to get movie talk going. I'm going to be your host today, and joining me on the panel today, it's Perri Nemiroff.
Oh, hi, guys. Happy New Year, everybody. 2018's crazy. You know what else? I think we should make a bet right now. How long is it going to take before there's like peanut butter, your coffee, something on that wonderful white sweatshirt?
I know. I thought about it.
It's a very nice white sweatshirt, but it is white.
It's inevitable. I think that something will. I mean, same thing happened to my daughter yesterday, where she had something white on, and then there was mustard all over her pants. Poor Gene that the kid got. All right, right next to her, he doesn't have a cowboy hat on, and he doesn't have his vest, but it is the outlaw John Rocha. Hello,
What
John.
is the obsession with my vest? Like, I get so many comments the whole break about wearing vests.
Where's the vest?
Like, is this not unheard of? I saw 40 people at the Rose Bowl wearing vests yesterday. What is the issue? Happy New Year. 2017 was nice, right? Forget it. 2018, let's go. Let's do something new. Let's break the mold. Let's have a little fun. I'm excited to be here today.
You're ready. Do it. Whatever you're
You
going
went
to say.
to the Rose Bowl?
The Rose Bowl.
You like after-school sports?
What are you talking about?
Did
College
they
football,
finish
son?
their English before they
What
competed
is-
for
what
the
is wrong?
championship?
Wait a minute now. These kids don't go to school.
No,
you know
you're
that.
gonna-
They just play football.
That's true. They get an envelope with cash on their dorm room bed every week. That's
Allegedly.
All right, so I guess we're talking about movies today. Ken, what do we have going on in the worldwide world of movies?
Lead story, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I loved it. You probably hated it. We're going to still be friends. It passed $1 billion in less than 3 weeks at the theater, causing Disney to shake of their boots. What are we going to do with our failing franchise? With less than 12 hours to go before we get into 2018, Star Wars The Last Jedi passed $1 billion at the global box office, joining Beauty and the Beast, The Fate of the Furious and Despicable Me 3. Wow, that made that much money. And the $1 billion club for 2017. It's also the highest grossing film of 2017 domestically, beating out Beauty and the Beast, Wonder Woman, The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is the funniest sitcom ever. The Last Jedi is also the 7th highest grossing domestic movie of all time with $533 million, and will soon pass The Dark Knight's total of $534.9. Kristian, that made a lot of money.
Yeah, it did. Perri, what'd you think about it?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Rocha?
Yeah, it blew. Look, I know they're all going to play around with it. It blew past Rogue One. It blew past Rogue One in 3 weeks. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's 25% behind Force Awakens. But all these people are coming out going, oh, they're protecting Star Wars. It's not making them. It's making its money. You can keep crying and talking about the narrative, saying it's not good or not good. It's a divisive movie. Can't deny that. But it's making its money. So to me, this is a positive thing. There's nothing to revamp or change. Keep staying the course. You're making the money. And there's a lot of people that defend the movie.
Here's the thing. I don't care anymore.
Okay.
I just don't care. I don't care. I mean, I have my love for Star Wars hasn't been hurt at all by people, whether it's they love it or they hate it. I just want to be a fan. I don't want to. It's not a political side for me.
Right.
I'm not here to fight for my party. I'm here to be a fan. So if you hate the fact that it made money, that's cool. If you think that it's a failure, then you think it. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for thinking it's a failure. Good for you. I don't think that Justice League was a bomb, and you tell me that it was. I don't care anymore. I just don't care.
Okay, but I just hate the stupid narrative that's starting to come from some of the DC fans who are like, oh, they're defending Star Wars, but Justice League, what about
But
Justice
why do you
League?
care?
Because
But that's what I'm saying. Who cares?
Because it changes the narrative of the success, and they're trying to destroy a franchise
but why do you
because
care? Do you
their
like the
franchise
movies?
sucks.
But who cares? Do you like watching the movies? Who cares
Yeah,
if
I
Smell My
do.
Boots 87 thinks that it is not a good property and that it's failing from? He doesn't make the decisions. Who cares? I don't think that. I just think that we're at a place.
But you
where
know
the
that fans change studio stuff. Fans change studio direction.
No.
Fans change what they do.
If they change their studio direction when they see billions upon billions of dollars, that's on them. And if they change it, maybe they change it for the better.
There's nothing wrong with them changing direction, though, by hearing what fans have to say about their movies and how they're reacting to certain plot points. The problem with this whole situation that just got brought up and veered away from box office is the fact that when people don't like it, they are trying to get the people who do like it and get some enjoyment. They're trying to get them to hate it and trying to strip the love away. That's what's not fair. There's nothing wrong with loving the movie. There's also nothing wrong with hating it, especially when you have very valid reasons that you express in a nicer way.
Absolutely.
It's just when you're trying to ruin someone else's joy, that's where you draw the line. That's it.
But that's the thing, though. And I think that this is where sometimes when someone comes into a YouTube comment and they're like really rude and offensive and you ban them and they go, well, that's my freedom of speech. No, it's not. You're throwing basically, and I say, you come into my store, I can throw you out. Now, this, though, I think, even though I don't agree with a lot of things that people are saying, it is their right and freedom of speech to say if they hate a movie and if they don't like a particular thing and think, you shouldn't like this movie because of blah, 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 they might be wrong, but they're allowed to say it. And the haters can hate. I just don't understand why we all, like, the haters have to defend their side with, like, no, you should hate this movie, and everyone who loves it is like, no, you should love it. I think it's just a matter of the movie made money, the facts are there, it made money, and if someone wants to say, this is BS. They're just protecting it because it had such a big drop off in the second week. Then fine, your facts you think that the overall box office says another thing. I don't understand why we have to fight it like we're on some sports team.
Well, this movie's going to wind up making something like $1.6 billion at the worldwide box office in the end. I think that's where predictions have it right now. And then on top of that, we're talking about the third Star Wars movie in a row that wound up topping the box office in North America, and that's with it being released halfway through December. That's a pretty big accomplishment.
It is.
Good for Disney for pulling something like that off.
Yeah, I think it is.
I want to apologize to you, John. I took away your enjoyment of going to a college sporting event.
You really did.
And I would apologize. Just because I think it's a professional sport disguised as an amateur sport, and that the NFL is scripted doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. And we're going to be friends, John.
My fly is down 72 says I should not enjoy this football game.
If I could turn that Sith Lord, even though he's bathing in sarcasm. All right, what's next in this wonderful world that we live in?
As the late great John McLaughlin would say, next issue. Jodie Foster blames, quote, superhero movies, question marks, for ruining movie audiences in the clickbait headline of the week. Let's get to the facts, though. New interview with Radio Times. Jodie Foster was discussing her direction on a new episode of Black Mirror when she then addressed the superhero genre of movies and studios who make them. Speaking about the superhero genre and just blockbusters in general, its place with audience, Foster said, going to the movies has become like a theme park. Studios make bad content in order to appeal to the masses and shareholders. It's like fracking. You get the best return right now, but you wreck the earth. It's ruining the viewing habits of the American population and then ultimately the rest of the world. I don't want to make $200 million movies about superheroes. Harloff, what do you think about Nell?
I think Nell is a little salty, is what I think. And I think that, look, Jodie Foster is one of the most talented actresses we have ever had. She's a very powerful woman. She's a very good director. She has done a lot for tons of different communities. I think she is acting like an elitist snob when she talks in this particular way because. And I don't think that these comments, and I think we're all going to address this here, are just aimed directly at superhero movies. They certainly are lumped in there, but I'm going to bet you every penny that I have in my bank account, it's not that much after Christmas, but I'm going to bet you all of it that she has not watched every MCU movie. She can't tell you about the different directors that, or someone like a Patty Jenkins and what she did with DC and what she could do as far as like making that movie new, Wonder Woman, making that movie fresh. I think that is an insult to her fellow filmmakers. I think that is an insult to everyone who works on those things. It's not just a theme park because there's superheroes involved. It has become a genre, superhero movies. Now, where I'm going to agree with her is there are a lot of big budgeted summer blockbuster garbage out there, and this summer was riddled with it. There was so much crap that was in summer season this year, but to single out comic book movies is irresponsible, and it is one of these things that I think that when you hear her talk about it to where it's just like she's frustrated. She's frustrated like other people are frustrated that movies with the artiste is not getting the eyes on it. And that's not what a lot of people want to see, plain and simple. And it's never been that way. It didn't just happen yesterday. Blockbusters became blockbusters for a reason.
Yeah, and this is the frustrating part of it all, Kristian, is she's looking at it in a vacuum. She's not bitching about Steven Spielberg or George Lucas, who started the blockbuster trend, right? Way back in the 70s. So this has been coming for decades. So for her to say singularly just the superhero movies currently going are ruining the American public is very short-sighted. And because she also has to think about her career and who she wants to work. These are friends that she might be going up against. And I agree with you. The Patty Jenkins things, that's an incredible point to make.
Ryan Coogler.
And Ryan Coogler.
For what he's doing right now.
Exactly.
When you go back 2 years to Comic-Con and you see for the first time at Hall H, which is the biggest platform, the entire cast were just entire black cast.
Yep.
And that had never happened before. And you're going to take that away, that type of platform, because you think that it's not able to showcase your $5 or $10 million movie? That's irresponsible.
And the frustrating part is that she says later she would do one if it had really complex psychology. Have you seen these movies? Some of them have that actual thing within them.
James Gunn actually responded to her comments, and that's one of the things he said, is that she's basically suggesting that spectacle films can't be thought-provoking.
Right, yeah.
And that's not true at all. I see her point with what you bring up with when you look at the large majority of big budget movies out there, if you split it up, odds are most of them are garbage.
Yeah.
They're not very good. And yeah, that's the problem. We can't have studios making movies like the Emoji Movie just to bank on something that's super popular right now, because that isn't fair to the quality movies that are being made and being overshadowed by a studio with a ton of money to market a movie. But then I look at something like, let's say, Fate of the Furious. I didn't really love that movie. I don't want to see that. I want to see a movie Jodie Foster directs instead of that. But there is no denying that there is tons of people out there who really enjoyed that and loved that. And her comments are kind of like taking away from the right for them to have a crazy, big action CG spectacle. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's not
Why
new.
can't we have both?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not new.
Yeah.
It's the blockbuster just didn't pop up, because when I came in this morning, I said, "Oh, she took shots at comic book movies," and everybody thought, I was like, "No, she didn't say that." I was like, "Okay. What did she say?" She said, "Well, she's more about the blockbuster," and I think that's even worse, because that's been going on for a while. The blockbuster has been around for so long that it's just because of streaming and everything else. Streaming is a platform where movies that Jodie Foster wants to make should be seen, and I think even call for more. A lot of these things at home. There are certain movies that, like Silence, even though it didn't do very well, didn't do very well in the theater, didn't well at all. It was gorgeous to look at the big screen. I mean, it probably would have benefited more to be on Netflix or something, but I understand the argument for wanting to have your movie in the cinema, but I just think that there's, to single that out, to say, I don't want to do a $200 million movie. I'm too good for that. I'm going to get the $15, $20 million movie back, and people are going to go see that, because I'm going to say the action movie is for dumb people, and it's dumbing down the entire, I know she didn't exactly say that, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's kind
the
of
phrasing is the other problem here, because she does have a point, as we've stated, but the idea of saying that these movies are ruining viewing habits, they're not ruining viewing habits. Those viewing habits just aren't in line with the kinds of movies you make, maybe, and maybe movies that you like.
And let's deal with reality. Movies are a business. It's a business. Yes, is there art involved? Absolutely, but it's a business. If these movies, as she's talking about, she says, I feel like I make movies because there are things I have to say in order to figure out who I am or my place in the world or for me to evolve as a person. Great. If those are making $200 million, studios will be making a shit ton of those, but they're not. So there's only certain ones that they're going to do, and so those ones succeed. Like Gone Girl, that succeeded, made almost $200 million. Great film, explored that kind of stuff. So there is an avenue for it. Look at Amazon. Look at Netflix. Look at all these thought-provoking films. Beasts of No Nation. They are there. They're available for people to watch, but they're finding different outlets, different platforms. For her to only think about movie theaters is very provincial and singular, and you have to look at the landscape that has changed. And it does sound like the old man grabbing the ball and going home and saying, "You can't play in my yard," and I just don't like it, because I think it's too simplistic in its thinking, and it needs to be more evolved.
I almost wouldn't mind if she actually signed on to direct a $200 million superhero movie or whatever type of movie right now.
Well, now she can't.
Just
this
so
may
she
be
can,
her way of doing it.
Just so
No,
she
what a
can
hypocrite she would be.
experience it, though, because another James Gunn thing that I liked, creating spectacle films that are innovative, humane, and thoughtful is what excites me about the job. Wouldn't it be interesting if someone like her, who thinks a certain way about these movies, took on that challenge and maybe had to see what she could do
But here's the
with
thing.
it.
People have been doing that, and that's why we don't have Joel Schumacher still making movies.
Right.
Because Christopher Nolan How about Christopher Nolan's Batman movies changed
Yeah.
the game? There are all these movies that have been made. You look at these great directors that have done what they have done with this with franchises, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's DC movies. What they have all done, it's like they've done exactly what James Gunn is talking about. And they said, like, I don't want to just make those. Like Michael Bay still makes those movies.
Yeah.
And no offense to you, the Transformers is exactly what she's talking about, but there's still an audience for it.
Sure.
And people are still going to see those movies. I don't ever want to see one ever again, and I have to because I do this job, but I understand why they keep making them because people like yourself likes to watch those movies.
And also, Christian films are escape.
Right.
They're to escape. We don't all want to go in a terrible situation in our world or our country, whatever your feelings are, and go to a movie and feel even more depressed. That's just not what we want to do. We want the balance. And it's really wrong of her to think, in my opinion, really wrong of her to think, oh, if you enjoy this movie, you can't possibly enjoy my layered, complex psychological film. Bull. I can watch Fast Furious 8 and I can watch Call Me by Your Name and enjoy that film as well.
Ken, how about you? Tie in the wind.
Well, look, man, I actually think she's right from a certain point of view, but you were right as well. It's very elitist. It's like I remember one experience. I was having lunch with a friend. We were watching TV at a bar, and we were eating, and there's like a commercial comes on with like a talking cat, and I was like, "Dear God, man, another talking animal." I look over, and he's doing this. Cat is talking, and he's better for it. You know what I mean? This comes off like that. I agree. It's changed the habits. It's changed the middle ground for movies, but the industry has changed because guess what? This weekend, I turned on streaming services and watched things, and great documentaries, great other things.
Right.
It's out there. I understand her point. I understand the bitterness even a little bit, but also she was in Maverick, one of the best block that wasn't good.
No.
So,
but I think it goes back to what we were just talking about with the Star Wars thing, though, too.
Yeah.
She's entitled to that opinion. She can sit. She can have those conversations and say, "Look, I know this is something. Maybe even off camera." She's like, "This is something I don't ever want to do one of those movies because I personally feel like I don't want to be involved with those. I don't like what they're doing for culture." But to single out people and to basically call out her peers, it was an elitist thing to do.
It's also, I'm just echoing your points, which makes me sound like a sycophant. But to you, and your nice little hoodie there. But
you.
mine's new too. You haven't complimented
Dark side?
once. Thank you.
Light side?
But yeah, it's
Rotten
also
Sith.
it's the old model because the game's changed with these names you're talking about. James Gunn brought something to it. Coogler. You can't tell me Black Panther isn't going to be one of the most important movies of 2018. So
I can't tell you the energy and the power in that room when that cast and the director were up there, and I just was saying, this is a change. This is important.
There were tears of inspiration.
Yes.
And she could, see the new form. I understand these movies are here to stay. And with Rocha's crap fests over here that he likes, but God bless you for liking them.
Right.
Because I love Megatron
Still talking about the Rose Bowl? Oh, you're talking about
the Rose Bowl. Did you go to the parade too?
No.
You look like a
I
parade
hate
guy.
parades. No.
I want a T-shirt that says,
What
I want
a
a T-shirt
useless waste of time.
I want a T-shirt pointing that you look like a parade guy. Yeah.
Now I want a parade fan to come running here and to fight you on that.
Come
Anyways,
slowly running in here.
I get her point. I get where she's coming from. I
Right.
get the bitterness, but it is at the end of the day bitterness.
All right, let's move on now. Tell us what's coming out this week.
All right, opening this week, Insidious, The Last Key. Good luck with that.
Okay, so Insidious. It's what is this? The fourth or fifth one? Fourth movie coming out. It is look, there's a popular franchise. I was talking to Perri about it before we went on air here, and we both said they're going to keep making these movies forever because the last movie, how much did it cost to make?
I think the last movie cost something like $10 million, and I might be off, but worldwide it made like $110 million, $120 million.
That's an investment. That's
great.
That's what we're going back to the last story. It's like to Rocha's point, it's a business. So if there is an audience that wants to see Insidious, I don't care about these movies ever again. If they never made another one, I wouldn't care. But there's an audience out there, and Perri enjoys them. Ellis enjoys them. If these movies keep coming out and they keep making money, you could see why they're going to keep making them.
Well, as someone who despised Insidious 3, this one it's all about Elise, and she is one of the shining stars of this movie, the character played by Lynn Shay, so that's a plus. We also have a new director this time, Adam Robitel, who did The Taking of Deborah Logan, which got a very strong response, and that now forces Leigh Whannell to just stick to writing.
Right.
So that setup seems like a more promising way to go, especially after having experienced Insidious 3.
All right, we'll see what's happening because that movie comes out this weekend. It is January. Normally, sometimes January can tend to be either the toilet bowl of the movie season, or it could be that little hidden gem. Maybe Insidious is that hidden gem. We'll see. All right, Ken, what's next?
Buy or sell, Kristian.
Thanks, Ken. All right, so we are actually not going to do buy or sell. I got to be honest with you. If it comes back some other time when I'm not hosting, that's fine. I just don't find the point in it. I think it's exactly the same thing that we just did. It's either, okay, we're going to buy it or we're going to sell it. We just basically did that without saying it. So we're not going to do that today. Basically, all we're going to do is we're going to say agree or disagree with certain points inside of the story. So, Ken, tell me the first story that we're going to talk about here.
All right, topic one. John Williams, heard of him? He's going to compose the Han Solo theme in Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, listen carefully. In a recent interview with Variety about Star Wars The Last Jedi, franchise composer John Williams revealed he is also set to compose the theme for Solo, a Star Wars Solo? A Star Wars Solo. It's a lot of S's. The present plan, according to Williams, is to write an original theme for the Han Solo character with How to Train Your Dragon composer John Powell writing the actual score. That is the rub. That's the info there. Powell was announced as a primary composer back in July of 2017. The movie, of course, star Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, a tough hill to climb. This is set to hit theaters May 25th this year. Star Wars returns to May, at least for this movie. Kristian, agree, disagree? John Williams composing just the Han Solo theme.
It's the same thing as buy or sell what you're doing there, and I'm still not going to go with it. What I'm going to say here is I'm going to make my point, and then I'll ask these guys whether or not they agree or disagree with my take. And I think that what I'm going to say here with John Williams is that John Williams is synonymous with Star Wars. Now, I know that, and I saw Rocha and I are probably going to get into it here on this conversation because I saw Rocha tweeting, and I could not disagree with him more, but I'm going to give him a chance to defend himself, obviously.
Defend myself?
Just wait. Take it easy. So in regards to John Williams, I think that he's one of those guys. I know they want to go into a new direction here, and they want to give composers time to breathe and do their thing. And maybe some people think that if you bring in John Williams, then it's like, you're kind of pushing this guy to the side and saying, oh, it's a John Williams score. It's not. He's doing the theme. There's a difference with John Williams. Is that John Williams is going to have his influence in every Star Wars movie one way or another, whether it's Rogue One, whether it's any one of these movies. The influence will be there. Rebels is a very good example of that. Like Kevin Kiner is a great composer. And he uses a lot of John Williams themes. What John Williams did with the Last Jedi, I thought there was more influence from the original trilogy, and I liked that because it made me feel more like it was the saga films. And I think when you have a character like Han Solo who is very much linked into the saga films, that you should have John Williams doing his theme. I think that because if you can use him as much as you can. The man is in his, mid-80s?
85.
He's 85 years old.
85.
And he's still, to quote Leonardo DiCaprio, doing punk rock. All right? And so I think that he's able to do these scores. He's able to do this. I'd like to use him as much as they can. Now, Rocha, do you agree or disagree that John Williams should be involved in some part of Star Wars?
I thoroughly disagree that he should be involved in the Star Wars stories. Now, in the trilogies, great. The mainstream stuff, knock yourself out, do your thing. I watched The Last Jedi again over the weekend in IMAX 3D. Absolutely loved it. Score was fantastic. When that Han Leia theme kicks in near the end, when Luke hands her the dice, my God, it's fantastic, right? It's beautiful. But these Star Wars stories were designated to be outside the realm of these trilogies. Separate stories that are told. They were supposed to expand the franchise, do something different. So bring in more punk rock composers. Bring in composers that haven't done stuff. You could Stephen Price, who did Gravity, Johan Johansson, who did Sicario, Alexander Despot, who just did The Shape of Water, which is fantastic, Johnny Greenwood, who did There Will Be Blood, Micah Levi, who did Jackie and Under the Skin. These are just like the tip of the iceberg.
But he's not taking John Powell out.
But wait.
But John Powell's still
I'm
there.
saying I don't want him to do the theme because I want these people to have the entire film, not just like 9/10 of the film.
Think John Powell's going to argue with that?
No, but that's not what it's about. This is supposed to be separate and different. And hey, this is not your Han Solo. This is Alden Ehrenreich. This is not Harrison Ford. If it was Harrison Ford, yes, they're interlinked.
Man.
So
All right,
for me,
that's good.
the Han Solo is not the Han Solo that you're going to get. And a lot of people are going to be mad about this Han Solo when they see it. I guarantee it.
Wait.
So that's my issue.
So I'm going to pick up from there then, Perri. Do you agree or disagree with Rocha in the fact that he says that because it's Ehrenreich, that this is a different Han Solo here?
I couldn't disagree more.
Fine.
Oh my, if it is a different Han Solo, and I'm not going to guarantee this is going to go one way or the other, because what do I know? I haven't even seen a trailer yet. But if this is a different Han Solo than the Han Solo that Harrison Ford is, that's a problem for this movie, and I highly doubt it's anyone's intention to go that route. He is going to be the same Han Solo, but a younger Han Solo. That is what it is. With this story in particular, though, who wouldn't want John Williams to compose a score? He is getting that opportunity. I understand the point you bring up about
just the theme, not the score.
He's doing the theme and Pal's doing the full score.
Right.
But I understand the idea of saying, oh, it's a standalone movie. We should bring in new, fresh talent and let them do their thing. But even though it's a standalone movie, it still needs to feel like Star Wars. It still needs to exist in that universe. And John Williams is such an important part of creating that style, that tone and atmosphere. And it doesn't matter what Star Wars movie I watch, the more and more I watch every single one, even though from day one I always knew his scores meant so much to every moment in those movies, I realize it, and I love it more and more and more every single time.
Yeah, we just talked about being elitist. That's elitist. John Williams can only do it. John Williams can only, and that's ridiculous to me. All these composers that come in and create them. You know why? Because all of them were probably influenced by John Williams, influenced by watching these Star Wars movies. So to me, they can bring their own spin, but still keep the vibe, the feeling, the joy when you hear the score of a Star Wars movie. That's what great composers can do. And John Powell is gonna, like Rebels did, right? Rebels mixes in some of the John.
So you're
Williams
okay
stuff.
with putting the Williams themes in there as other composers are doing it?
Well, as long as they're doing it, yeah, sure. If they want to, absolutely. But I want them to do their own thing, and then if they need to move it in, great. Yeah. But I think John's given us enough, and I'm not saying it's just not ageism. Somebody accused me of ageism. It's not ageism. He's 85.
Kristian gets the point.
Thank you. Nice, good throwback.
I didn't know we were doing that.
Good throwback. But you know, the one thing that I do want to say though is that to go off of Perry's point here, I think that what's important here, and to go against your point here, John, I think that what normally, when it comes to other standalone movies, I think I'm on your side, that where you're going to give somebody a shot to go and do their thing. But Han Solo is such a risk in general, right? The movie is such a risk. I still think it's a movie that shouldn't have been made, and especially right now. I mean, there's nothing they can do about it. I mean, after coming off The Last Jedi, which is divisive to say the least, it is going to be a tough fight for them to win. And I think because Aaron Reich is Solo, that to have someone a little bit more familiar in there doing, who knows the character so well, like a John Williams, just for the theme, because it is a theme that you might get because we haven't had a lot of I mean, Kylo Ren's theme is pretty recognizable now. Rey's theme is pretty recognizable. But when you think of the Empire's theme, when you think of these things, maybe Han Solo, he never really had like a theme. Leia had a theme, Yoda had a theme, and to have Han Solo's never really had one. But Ken, do you agree or disagree that Han Solo should have a theme by the great John Williams?
I love this. I'm on board because the guy's still alive and kicking, and we saw him at the premiere alive and drinking. Like, he's still going. And if Paul McCartney says, "Do you mind if I come in the studio and lay down some licks here on my bass?" You're going to be like, "Come on in,
right?
Give fab." And be quite prepared for that eventuality. So I agree, though, that they're going to become a time where we're going to have to get used to more names. So we have Pal, a very accomplished Oscar-nominated composer, doing the yeoman's work, doing the heavy work, and John comes in and says, "Hey, let me just kind of complete my collection. I've got Luke, I got Leia, I got Vader, I got Rey. Let me come up with something neat for Han here. Do you mind if I do that?" And I think Pal's going to be like, "Yes, sir. How do you do? Come on in." And then we got 9, and Lord Williams is there for 9, and then we're into new territory.
But you of all people, Kristian, should rebel against this idea of doing the same thing over and over again. You want to do something different.
Think this is over and over again.
Think this is. I think either have the guts to take the chance and make them separate films.
Pal's doing the whole movie.
Not the whole movie, because he's not doing. He's doing solo.
It's just the theme. Because
but I think that matters because I think it's a safe move, and I wonder what you think about this. You guys are all of you massive Star Wars fans on Jedi Council. I'm only occasionally on now, but like this idea of
not after this show.
You just got to take the trip to Bespin.
Maybe if I want porgs more.
Fire.
No, this idea of that it should only be this and should only be that, and this. Don't you think like this is a safe move by them because of what happened, the divisiveness? Don't you think they talked to John was like, we need people to get excited about Solo.
No, I think
we're going to bring you in,
it's
do the theme. It'll make people feel like the original trilogy again.
I think Lawrence Kasdan, who was very involved in this movie, and this was his swan song, and he wrote the script, and apparently it's a really great script. And even before the problems, that it was one of the best Star Wars scripts, and that's easy to you can always have a great script and it doesn't transfer over. But a lot of words on that. I think Kasdan probably wanted his old friend to come in and maybe do the theme. Kasdan has been. It's very rumored that he had a lot of, say, very similar to what George Lucas had with Marquand in Return of the Jedi. That he's got a big voice in directing this thing too, but he couldn't do it legally. So I mean, look, I happen to disagree with a lot of the points, though I think that the points themselves are very well made. I'm more on the side here of Perri and Ken, but let's move on to the next one. Ken, what do we got?
Yeah, it takes a real man or woman, John, to stand up to the rest of us, and you're
A lot
hero.
of the fan base, to be fair, a lot of the comments are on your side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's something.
They don't know who you are, but
Next topic, new TV spot, motion posters. Neat motion posters. We're in the future, children, for A Wrinkle in Time. This is Disney's big picture coming out. Ava DuVernay, we were there at D23 to see the whole cast, including Oprah. Come on out for this. What do you guys think about this? You can't buy or sell it. You can agree or disagree.
yeah, I'm going to... because it's new, we're going to have to keep figuring out how it works. But I think that what we do with this is if you see the spot, you buy or sell the spot. It's a 5-second spot. How are you going to buy or sell it? It looks similar to what we've seen so far. I guess the agree or disagree is, will this be DuVernay's coming out party to the mainstream audience? I don't think this is the one yet. I think that she is an incredible director. I think she is someone who is very vocal. I think this is going to be gorgeous. It looks, and I hope it's wonderful. I really hope it's a great movie. I just don't know if this is going to be the one that captures all the mainstream. I think that this is her Creed. As where Ryan Coogler got Creed, and Creed was a movie that a lot of people loved for sure. But I don't think Ryan Coogler's name pops to a lot of people if they know who he is yet, but they will after Black Panther. I'm wondering if that's the same. I happen to think that this is the stepping stone into a bigger movie and more opportunities. But Perri, do you agree or disagree with me there?
I agree. Can we make up just like new words?
Not yet.
Would that make this any better?
We got to
No?
get this.
All
We got to
right.
get this kicking first.
I am really pumped for this movie, and I think this TV spot is excellent. Really, it sounds really simple and stupid, but they're using like the ticking clock to their benefit, just upping the intensity of every single thing they've released. These motion posters, I really want a movie to just nail the use of a motion poster, because we've been doing it for years now, and all right, yeah, there's something cool about seeing a character move, but put them out there somewhere in a way where I'm walking through the hallway of a movie theater and all of a sudden Oprah like goes like that, and then I get chills and I want to be in that world with her. But whatever, this movie with Ava DuVernay and the idea of it being like her first big mainstream movie, I have a feeling she might be able to pull it off. And I'm actually almost finished with re-listening to A Wrinkle in Time.
I wasn't saying pull it off. I'm just saying, will this be the one that gets her into mainstream? Will you agree with that?
Pull it off, one, in that I think she is going to manage to adapt a very challenging book to bring from text to screen. Because there are ideas and visuals in this book that are either going to look incredibly magical or really stupid. It's going to go one way or the other. And I think of all people, she has a great shot at pulling that off. In terms of it capturing a wide audience, if she does do that well, I think the answer is definitely yes. Because look at the history of the source material. There's a reason they teach it in classrooms, and it's gotten a bajillion awards and all that. This movie has ideas and characters and themes that really mean something. They meant something back when the book came out, and they mean something new and fresh now, and I think she can adapt it in a way that it's going to capture pretty much the hearts of everyone, adults and kids out there.
Well, we kind of are on the same page on that part of it, and I think Perri thinks that if she pulls it off, that it could catapult her into superstardom. I don't think that this is the one.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree with the fact that you think that this could catapult her into superstardom?
No, I'm more with you. I think this is the next step in the process. And the reason I say this is because Ava's not necessarily looking to become
That's true.
this mainstream film, but she is a very socially conscious. If you watch her, if you follow her on Twitter, if you watch The 13th, if you watch even her earlier movies, very much about the black struggle. There was a film that she did called, I think it was Middle of Nowhere, where she has to, where you follow the wife like as she deals with her husband being incarcerated, and then she goes on her own journey. So a lot of her films are kind of more independent, more psychological, more complex, more about discovery. So Wrinkle in Time, I think, will be great. There'll be social issues presented. Obviously, she did Selma. Selma's what everyone really loves her for. So this is a next step in the process. But I doubt she'll ever be this incredibly blown up film director. I think she'll be revered and loved and respected, and you look forward to what she's going to do. I would love to see her do a Star Wars film or a superhero film, and maybe Jodie Foster can come on and say she liked that one. But those are the kinds of things. So for her, I think this is the next step in the process, and then maybe there'll be something even bigger, like because they talked about her for Black Panther.
Right.
You know why she wanted to do that? Socially conscious, to talk about black issues and that kind of thing. So it'll have to appeal to her in that way. And I think Ava's great for doing that because she doesn't have to be money hungry, power hungry, status hungry. She's very confident in what she is as a director. And I think this is the next step. And this source material is great, but it also can fall flat on its face, as Perri was saying. If this is done well, or terrible, this could be Valerian.
Well, let me throw that, and that's the next point. Kay, let me throw it to you here. Do you agree or disagree with this one? Because I think that there's a good possibility, even, again, looking at the chat room, there doesn't seem to be a lot of people in this chat room that are very excited about this movie. Now, I know that a lot of us are because we have been following Ava DuVernay, or maybe are excited to see what she can do in this platform. Let's take the side of the fact that this thing does not do well. Let's say that it does poorly. And people don't respond to this. People think it looks terrible and they don't want to go and check it out. I think that Ava DuVernay will probably stick to the smaller movies for a while and stay away from the big budget movies. Do you agree or disagree with that one?
If it fails, if
Yes,
this
if it fails.
fail being a weird term in this business,
Yeah.
what amount of money? I think she's good with Disney. Disney's happy. Look what they're
Give her
putting
another.
into this.
You disagree and think they'll give her another shot?
I think they give her another shot, and this might just be the hit single that you make so you can go record your album, your double album, with acoustic guitar with the tambourine. This might be what she just wants to do to get to that next level. And I understand what you're saying earlier on about this might not be the movie. I think do not underestimate the drawing power of Oprah and the source material that, like Perri said, this is a wide variety and wide generational type of book. I think this will do very well. March is a good time for it, nestled between the big stuff coming out in May and then the stuff coming out. Blockbuster season goes from February to December. Now January is the only question, it seems. So I think it's going to work. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah. This still will be the one that puts her to the next one. This is not going to be like, oh, you're the Wrinkle in Time director. No, it's going to be whatever comes after.
All right. So listen, we agreed and disagreed on quite a couple of things here, and I think that's just trying to get the conversation going because everybody has pretty much strong opinions on all this stuff. I just thought it would be a healthier way to have some debate here. Very curious to what you guys think. Should we keep doing agree or disagree? Comment below. All right, so now it's time for mailbag, and you guys have submitted some questions. We've gone through them. Ken, what's somebody asking about something?
All right, we got Gary. He says, hello, Collider team. Since The Last Jedi was released, I've heard a lot of its defenders stating that if people would only go and see it a second or even a third time, it would be a better movie experience for them. But why should I have to? With movie ticket prices so expensive these days, shouldn't directors be trying to make sure that their movies give everything they need to win over the audience on the first screening? A lot of people simply cannot afford to go back for a second viewing. Wasn't this also the same argument made for Blade Runner 2049?
The answer to your question is you are 100% right. You shouldn't have to go and see a movie a second time to enjoy it. You shouldn't. And this is coming from someone who tweeted out that when the first time I saw the movie, I was like, by the way, now I've seen the movie 4 times, and I went from 3.5 out of 5 to 4.5. I'm now at a solid 4. That's where I'm at. 4 out of 5 is my final answer. And after seeing all the things, but that doesn't mean you have to go and see it 4 times. You should only see it once, and that's and my neighbors went and saw it. They're not going 2 or 3 times. They're doctors. They're going to go see it once, and that's the end of it. And you're right. You shouldn't have to see it, but that doesn't change the fact that any movie you see a second or third or fourth time, you'll look at it differently. You might say, oh, well, I feel kind of the same way, but I looked at that scene differently. There's always certain little things inside of it that you'll see differently. It might increase your view, but the exact opposite of that is my brother saw it a second time, and he disliked it more the second time. So it doesn't mean that you have to. It just, again, goes back to personal preference, personal opinion. Like when you put out a list of a top 10 list of things that your favorite list, it doesn't matter how many times you tell people, this is my list, not your list. That should have been number 3, not number 4. It's all on how you see things. If you want to go see it a second time, it's up to you. But you shouldn't have to see a movie 2 times. What do you think?
That's it. You shouldn't have to. But I do think there's something very special and exciting about being able to go to a movie, see it again, and find new details or new meaning that you might have missed before. I've said it before, the movie Get Out. It was a really cool experience, and I wound up appreciating it even more than I did the first time because I think knowing the ending of that movie and then going back and re-experiencing the whole thing, it brings to light so many different things, and I think that's an incredible achievement. But the idea of going to a movie not enjoying it and saying, oh, just see it again and that'll change. That's not okay, and it's also a dumb business decision if anybody ever had that in mind while they were crafting a movie, which I don't think really happens. But why would someone go and pay to see a movie again if they didn't like it the first time? It just doesn't make any sense, and I don't think that should be the case.
Well, I'm going to slightly push back on this because I think Gary's being ridiculous. Gary, can you buy Starbucks for $6? You can go to AMC on the weekend and see it for $6. I guarantee it in your town. So don't give me this crap that a lot of people don't have money. No, you're choosing not to spend the money to go see a movie again a second time. Don't give me that. You just went out to Chipotle
That's
and
not fair.
spent $10.
How do you know that?
This is my opinion, right? I'm allowed to have my opinion
that's
on
not
Gary.
your opinion. That's
It
not
is
your
my
opinion. You just told him that he doesn't have that he can go buy Starbucks. Maybe he
he's
can't.
telling me that
maybe
people
he's
don't have
making
enough money to
maybe
spend
making
on
a pot of coffee out of like garbage in the middle of his kitchen.
Fine.
You don't know what he's doing.
Well, if he can
Maybe
afford
saved
Twitter,
up. Maybe
if he can
saved up.
afford Twitter and the internet, I'm sure he can afford to do whatever.
It's free at
So
some
I'm just-
places. That's Starbucks.
Maybe. All right. Well, Gary, if that's your situation, then I apologize. But I guarantee you most people have enough money to go and see a movie a second time. The question is, should they? Now, I push back on this because I think some of the greatest films, you get more out of going to see them over and over and over again. And there's a reason we go and see movies over and over, or we watch them on HBO or whatever your pay channel is, you watch, or on Netflix or whatever. You watch movies over and over again so you can enjoy them, savor them, and then you get new things out of them depending on when you watch them. And also, I watched Watchmen the first time. I hated it. Then I saw it again 10 years later and absolutely loved it. It's just a matter of perspective and time. So, should you have to watch a second movie? Sure. I mean, basically, in a vacuum, you can say no. But to savor a movie a second time, yes, going to see it again is enjoyable. Going to see it again is the way to go because then you get more out of it. I got more out of it going to see it a second time because some films are more complex. They're more layered. There's more to explore. And in this Star Wars film, I think it asks a lot of you as a viewer and as a person who loves the mythology.
What you just said makes me jump to the other side even more because that's not fair. That is actually
Which part?
Let her finish.
Be specific.
Let her
The
finish.
idea of basically saying to someone, oh, if you have the money, or even if you don't have the money and you have to cobble it all together to go see a movie twice, that's not fair. If somebody's going to take their hard-earned money and put it towards a movie, that movie should be enjoyable, entertaining, meaningful, whatever they need it to be on that first viewing. Because really what it comes down to is when we're talking about super fans who are going to go see these movies multiple times, yeah, they're going to go see them multiple times no matter what. There are so many people out there who forget just not even being able to afford to see a movie twice. They can't see it once. If someone's going to spend their hard-earned money to see a movie one time, they should get the full experience that one time.
But this is a narrative that I don't agree with. I don't think there are so many people that can't afford to go see a movie a second time. I think that's crap.
Oh,
People
no.
spend
Ken, go for it.
the economy.
no.
If you look at the economic statistics, it is off the charts right now what people are spending on Starbucks, people are spending on Taco Bell, people are spending on fast food, all kinds of stuff. So look at these guys gesticulating. Look at these guys just went and got fast food this morning. They have money to spend. The matter is how you're spending it.
Well, maybe
And that's
Taco
my
Bell is
point.
more important to somebody's lifestyle and happiness than seeing a movie.
Cody
And
just
that- and
erupted
that's
in
their
applause.
Well, we'll
choice.
see 30 years later when you're in the doctor's office.
All right,
Which
Ken,
was healthier?
Relax.
There's
Let
a
Ken
group
go.
of people that does have a lot of money to spend, and that's college football athletes. All right, they have a lot of money to spend.
You
John.
have an opinion here?
Nah, look,
besides your little jokes.
Now, look, I
crepes.
think in theory, Gary's right. You shouldn't have to. I think we all can generally agree you shouldn't have to. And I don't think, definitely in this particular question, The Last Jedi, this opens up that conversation. Rian Johnson did not create a movie that you have to see. It's just we suggest you go see it because it is highly layered.
You pick up things at the
There are
same
some
time, yeah.
deep themes in this movie that a lot of people, quite frankly, I keep saying on Twitter, just missed. Doesn't mean you have to like the themes, but some of them, I've had, why did Luke Skywalker leave a map to him? He didn't leave a map to himself. That was a temple map that they found. People just sometimes miss the things going on, so we're saying go see it again. You might learn some
Right.
stuff, but you shouldn't have to see it. I definitely think. And as far as normally I'm on your capitalist side here, Rocha. Normally that's my general life here, but taking a family to see The Last
a
Jedi
family
could
is
have cost you $120
Right.
bucks.
A family is different. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying you
You're talking
singularly
about
as a
some
person.
lonely
One
guy in a
person.
sweatpants.
Sure.
Cody, stop eating your Taco Bell and go see a movie.
Go see a movie.
Yeah, but I think
Don't buy a $60 video game. Maybe go see the movie.
But in general. know. What I want to. No one here is saying you have to see it because the movie didn't work the first time.
We're just saying it could enhance the experience.
Hey, you
It
might
could.
have missed something.
Right.
Go.
Well, the
back.
positive in all of this and everything we learned today is that someone actually created an account, Smell My Boots 87 on Twitter. So thank you for that.
That's
all right. Let's now
We're
move
doing
to
the Lord's work.
Let's move to Twitter now and let's see what we got. The tweets, Ken. What do you got?
All right, this one where I'm on the hashtag Collider Movie Talk, and finding some nice questions. Chris Woodburn at Chris Woodburn 83 says, "You rock, Ken. Chris, you're on an island." But I thank you. And what's under the radar? What's an under the radar film that you're all looking forward to this year, 2018? I'll start. I'll say Wes Anderson, Isle of Dogs. I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, but some of his later stuff, I'm not as a fan as much as this. Rushmore inspired me to get into writing and all that kind of stuff. But Isle of Dogs looks like something I absolutely want to see. Fantastic Mr. Fox was an under the radar Wes Anderson film, and I think it's in that same vein. Perri?
I will second that movie. I'm so excited for that. I went and saw Shape of Water in the theaters the other week, and that trailer played. It was the first time I'd seen that trailer on the big screen, and that style of animation, I just love it, and I love the Wes Anderson style too. I'm going with A Quiet Place though, and pretty much just because I wasn't really aware of it. Then that trailer hit. And the trailer really just blew my mind. The idea of having a concept like that and how important sound design can be, and also staging and blocking to increase the intensity of a movie where people can't really talk, and the idea of Krasinski and Emily Blunt working together, there's so many reasons to be excited about that. So I just hope that they can sustain that idea and that style for a full feature.
I'm going to go with Disney Nature's Dolphins.
Okay.
Okay.
That's true, actually. I mean, it's not even meant for the joke. Initially, it was meant for the joke, but then I said, well, I actually do want to see this movie about dolphins. I think dolphins are fascinating. I think that the Disney nature movies are good, and because Disney paid me $1,000 to say that. No, they didn't. All right, Ken, what do you got?
I mean, I absolutely want to see the Dolphins. I hope they re-sign Jarvis Landry. Cutler didn't disappoint me as much as people thought, but I'm happy Tannehill's coming back. Rocha?
I said this before on the one yesterday, the Soldado, the Sicario 2 sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
really, really looking forward to that.
Annihilation's one, too.
Yeah, Annihilation, absolutely. And I saw that trailer in the theater. Like, you got that experience.
Yeah.
I'm changing my ringtone to that that sound
Not
that
that.
is in the trailer. No, not me.
Don't do
doing
that.
it, of course
That
not.
sound like
Don't ever do that.
That sounded like you're eating Taco Bell.
Yeah, don't do that.
But
Can afford to go to the
the
doctor?
The trailer that I've been seeing, Love, Simon, I've been being my mind changed on that
Okay.
one because
Right.
about the guy coming out and this whole idea. Now I think they should have put the jokes at the beginning of the trailer, then that makes the trailer a little more enjoyable to watch. But it is about what it's like to come out as a gay person to your family, to your friends, and the twisting it around to say, what if coming out as heterosexual was terrible? Why don't you try to see what that would be like? So I like that film has a good message behind it.
All right. Well, Ken, let's just do one more, and then I'm going to have more coffee.
Okay, one more. Here, I got
But
one.
I'm not buying it because I can't afford that.
Rocha will pay for you. This is from Janine the Machine,
Yes.
Janine DeBean. She says, I love in-jokes in movies like Last Action Hero or fake trailers in Tropic Thunder. Booty Sweat, that's my favorite too. What's your favorite satirical meta movie or movie moment? Deep cut, having time to think about it. I don't have an answer to stall for you guys.
Yeah.
Deadpool, when he
Yeah,
talks
that's
about
a great
when he
answer.
picks up the one from Wolverine's X-Men Origins Wolverine, that version
Right.
of Deadpool and makes fun of it. I like that, and the Green Lantern thing, which at first initially bothered me, but then I got what he was trying to go for, and I like that.
Ferris Bueller.
Okay, yeah. I was okay.
That's all I got.
I was going to say the first Wayne's World, which had some great moments. The
it did.
advertising scene, which was that also from two. I mean, I get confused, but
Doritos and Pepsi.
yeah, the from one there. Yeah, that's right, because Rob Lowe's there, and then even just the end of the movie, how they play with it, like happy ending, sad ending. Like I love that stuff. Wayne's World was an
There was
important movie to me, John.
There's something specific I was going for where it's a movie that doesn't break the fourth wall the entire time, but there's some sort of joke in it. It's like one of the movies that's on everybody's top 10, and now I can't think about it. But because I can't think about that, I'll
think-
just go for the obvious and say everything in Scream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, listen
I'm
to
gonna
me.
think about that
That's
movie
the end of this
later.
show. It was a good one. It was a fun one. It's the beginning of 2018. We had fun talking about it. We hope you had fun listening to us talk about it. And we'll be back once again. It is the daily movie talk show every day, 9 a.m. PST. So make sure you get your butts over here every morning to come check it out. You got Collider Jedi Council Heroes. Tons of shows out there right now. The Schmodown will be back at the end of the month. So all of that. So there's so much to do. All you got to do is subscribe, share, like, comment, have conversations with yourself. Go to Starbucks, go to the movies, do whatever you got to do. And we'll see you here tomorrow because that's what we do.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.